Hello everyone, today I come with a new video. In this case I come with a slightly different video on what books to read to get introduced to English literature. You have to keep in mind that reading books in English can open your mind to new and amazing worlds, as well as help you improve the language and gain fluency faster than you think. But not only that, if you are a fan of reading and love fantasy or other genres, you will know that there are books in English that do not have translations into native language, or sometimes it takes a while for this to be translated. So why not start reading in a different language? In this case, English, which is an international language. And you will find good and interesting readings and at the same time learn and help improve and strengthen your skills such as reading and vocabulary in this language. When we read, we become part of the story and we learn in a natural way without realizing that we are doing it. So it's always important to find books that interest you and make you want to read. So to achieve the best results, keep these basic tips in mind. First, look for books that suit your level. Don't try to read material that is too advanced for you, otherwise you may get frustrated and want to give up reading, and that's not the idea. Second, read what you like. Don't feel obliged to read something that you are not passionate about. For this reason, you can read the synopsis of the book so you know what you are going to find in the reading. Third, when you can, try to read aloud so you can listen to yourself and practice your pronunciation a bit. Always look up words you don't know how to pronounce online, like in a dictionary. I recommend Word Reference or Cambridge Dictionary. Fourth, don't try to learn all the words as you read. Try to understand the main idea of the paragraph. You can come back to precise words later. Also, there are many words that are not very common. Keep in mind those words that are everyday or that you feel are important and create a list and learn only these. Fifth, last but not least, audiobooks are also a very useful tool for learning. This way you can practice your listening and associate the sounds of the different phonemes to the words you are learning. You can also try to listen and understand before we start with the text in front of us. Here are some essential books for learning English by reading, depending on your level. For beginners, we have the first one called Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. A story suitable for all ages, Charlotte's Web is a children's book, although many adults say it is their favorite. The vast majority of English speakers have read this book at least once. The plot of this story is that a little girl named Fern saves a dying piglet and adopts him, naming him Wilbur. When Wilbur grows up and goes to Fern's uncle's farm, the other animals ignore him. One day, Wilbur hears a voice belonging to a spider named Charlotte, who promises to be his friend. The little spider knows that the farmers are planning to kill Wilbur, so she makes a plan to save his life. Charlotte's Web is part of the curriculum in many schools around the world, so you may well have heard of it. We have a second book called Little Women. This famous book tells the story of the four March sisters. Meg, the eldest, is very much in love. Jo wants to be a writer. Kind Beth always thinks of others before herself, and Amy, the youngest, is the most beautiful, even though times are hard and the father is at war. The sisters don't lose the sense of humor. Growing up is not always easy, but it's worth it. There's even a film about this story. You can watch the film and then read the book, so you know a bit of the plot. We have a third book. Well, in this case, it's like a saga, Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. The Harry Potter saga is well known around the world. That's also why it's one of the best books to enlarge your vocabulary and improve your grammar. If you consider your English level to be basic, the best option is to start with the first two books as they are the easiest in terms of comprehension and grammar. The vocabulary, expressions, descriptions, dialogues, and situations outlined increase in difficulty as you progress through the books. Books 1 and 2 could be considered beginner level, books 3, 4, and 5 intermediate level, and books 6 and 7 relative advanced level. So, in this 11th birthday, Harry Potter learns that he is the son of the two witches from whom he has inherited magical powers. At Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, along with his friends Ron and Hermione, he will learn everything he needs to know to be a wizard and learn how to defend himself against the Dark Wizard, one of the most powerful wizards of all time, who wants to finish him off. And you already know the rest of the story. There are even movies about the books, very good by the way, and recommended. And as they say, magic only flourishes in exceptional beings. Well, we now have our first book called Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. Almost everyone knows the story of Peter Pan, so it is also easy to read. Being familiar with the story helps to understand it more easily. This book is aimed at children, although there are many adults around the world who still enjoy it. And then we have a fifth book called The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. If you haven't heard of The Little Prince, then it's time to question your life, as this book, originally intended for children, also touches the hearts of young and old. The story tells the adventures of the little prince who travels around different planets, meeting characters that teach him great lessons about life. It is quite simple to read, so it's a very good option to learn the language if you are at a basic level. Now for intermediate levels, here are some options. The first one, we have A Christmas Carol. It's a short story about Scrooge, a miserly and stingy old man. So on Christmas Eve, he is visited by three mysterious visitors who make him rethink the values of Christmas, the spirits of Christmas past, present, and future. This novel is a good insight into the narrative style of one of Britain's greatest writers, Charles Dickens' most famous novel, thanks to its brevity, its simplicity, and its well-known plot. It's a nice read, easily digestible, and very suitable for your Christmas holidays. The second book for this level, we have Romeo and Juliet. It is Shakespeare's most famous play and one of the favorite books to learn English. As we know, it is a story of passionate love between two young people from rival families. For a while, they both manage to keep the feelings hidden, but when Romeo has to leave Verona and they want to force Juliet to marry another boy, the couple's hope begins to fade. What will happen in the end to this love story? If you already know it, then you will know what happens next, and if not, you can give this book a chance. Well, now we continue with the third one, called The Hunger Games. To demonstrate its power, the regime of the totalitarian state of Panem organizes the Hunger Games every year. 24 young people compete against each other in a battle in which there can only be one survivor. The young Katniss volunteers to take part in the games to save her sister. This trilogy, like Twilight or Divergent, are mass phenomena aimed at a teenage audience. As they are initially aimed at young readers, they have a much more accessible structure and vocabulary. Thanks to its particular first-person narrative style, it is an entertaining, light, and surprising story with a wealth of vocabulary and descriptions ideal for intermediate-level English. Next we have this saga called Percy Jackson and the Olympians. If you like Greek god stories, the saga will fascinate you. This is about 12-year-old Percy Jackson that is on the most dangerous quest of his life. With the help of a satyr and a daughter of Athena, Percy must journey across the United States to catch a thief who has stolen the original weapon of mass destruction, Zeus Master Bolt. Along the way, he must face a host of mythological enemies determined to stop him. Most of all, he must come to terms with a father he has never known, an oracle that has warned him of betrayal by a friend. This is like a synopsis for the first book called The Lightning Thief, but I really recommend all the saga. You won't put them down. You want more and more. And for advanced level, we have some options. We have this one, the first one called Pride and Prejudice. This novel tells the romantic story of Elizabeth Bennet, a strong-willed young woman, and Mr. Darcy, a rich, mysterious, and arrogant man. Her refusal to marry him threatens the future of Elizabeth's family. However, Mr. Darcy's insistence, along with his actions, begin to work on Elizabeth's feelings. We have another book called The Psychoanalyst. Happy anniversary, Doctor. Welcome to the first day of your death. So begins the anonymous note that Frederick Starks, a psychoanalyst, receives. In 15 days, he must find out who the author is, or he must choose between committing suicide or witnessing his family and acquaintances die at the hands of a psychopath. This novel launched John Bunch to fame, offering us the best psychological suspense. I have this other saga called Inheritance. Aragon, a humble young farmer, lives in Alagasia, a kingdom controlled by Galbatorix, a powerful and evil monarch. One day he discovers a jewel while hunting in the forest. A valuable gem turns out to be a dragon's egg. In the legendary kingdom of Alagasia, war is brewing. The riders, protectors of the peace of the empire, and the only ones capable of controlling the intelligent dragons are either extinct or have become part of the troops of the evil King Baltorix. The elves have long since been exiled to a hidden place, and the Bartons, a dissident group, hide in protected cities. When 15-year-old Aragon comes across a precious stone in the middle of the forest, little does he expect it to change his life and the fate of Alagasia. All he wants is to sell it, to ensure his family's livelihood during the harsh winter. But one night the gem breaks, and what comes out of it will take him on a journey that will make him a hero. It is a story full of adventure, sacrifice, and betrayal that will surprise you. Now we have the first book, Song of Ice and Fire. By now we assume that you know all about Game of Thrones, but just in case, I'll tell you about it. George R.R. Martin's saga shows the competition between noble families from 7 fictional kingdoms whose aim is to gain access to the Iron Throne. Here you will find English with political intrigues and negotiation, convoluted discussions, and full of ambiguities, and above all, a lot of vocabulary of all environments, from the most cultured and formal to the most colloquial. Even if you are not a fan of fantasy, medieval battles of dragons, I highly recommend Game of Thrones, one of the best series to learn English. It is, of course, at an advanced level. Now, over here, I have these other books that I had acquired when I was learning English. The great thing about these is that they are provided by Cambridge English readers. Here you can find short books of around 100 pages with good stories and classified into different levels with colloquial and everyday expressions and vocabulary. Cambridge English Readers books cover all 7 levels from beginner to advanced. This impressive selection offers exciting reading to suit every learner's ability. We have here A Dangerous Sky, level 6, advanced. This is about the story of Francesca, a 19-year-old girl who comes to England to achieve her dream of learning to fly. Her first lesson goes really well, and Doug, her instructor, described her as a natural pilot. But when Doug's actions lead Francesca to question her motives, she begins to lose confidence. Her dream of being free in the air is in danger, for Doug has different intentions for the girl, as he considers her naive, and on several occasions tries to make passes at her until she meets another boy who helps her out of the nightmare she is living in. It's a good story and keeps you connected with her. And well, here I have these others like The Way Home and Trumpet Voluntary of the same level, different stories that can catch your attention. There is no doubt that reading books in English is an essential tool for learning the language and enriching our passive vocabulary. Immersing ourselves in captivating stories and absorbing the structure and use of written language is an effective way to familiarize ourselves with words and expressions in context. However, it's important to keep in mind that reading is only one of the four fundamental skills for mastering any language, and with these books that I have mentioned, and the ones you are finding in this journey, I hope you will find them very helpful in your learning and enjoy new adventures and stories. So guys, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you another time. Bye bye.